to another one of my live stream lectures. And before I started, I just want to take a moment to thank all of my supporters and everyone for supporting my channel. My channel really would not be where it's at today without all of my supporters. You know, my channel is a little over 6 years old. It's unbelievable. I've been monetized, I believe, going on 4 years. So with that being said, let's get on down to today's lecture, which is the focus of this topic is my first 3 years of being in full retirement. I've been wanting to actually do this lecture for a while now. September of this year will make 3 full years that I've been in full retirement, and I'm just going to share with the world, you know, what that 3 years has been like for me. You know, everybody's journey is their journey. I retired September 2023 from state government, the state of North Carolina. I'm also retired military. I have, prior to my retirement, I worked 44 years of my adult life, people. Real talk, you know, throughout the journey, you know, sometimes 2 and 3 jobs. But the focus of this lecture is I'm going to just share my 3-year experience of being in full retirement. And I can just, first of all, I just want to give, you know, grace and glory to God for, you know, giving me the knowledge and skills to prepare myself 10 years before I retired. I had a strategic plan to exit up out of this workforce forever. You know, I could, you know, for me, you know, now what that has been like for me is, you know, for the past 4 or 5 years, especially since I've been in full retirement, I have embraced a true minimalism mindset, minimalism living. And what that minimalism mindset and minimalism living for me is, number first of all, is one of the things I recently did about 7 months ago to escape the matrix. I'm living on 15 acres of land that I got inherited to me from my mother, and I cultivated an acre of that land. And so now that's giving me opportunity to connect with nature, to connect with God, to connect with everything, and just being in nature. And so the first 2 hours of my day, more so in the past 3 years, since I fully retired, is my first 2 hours of my life, of my days, I'm in prayer, meditation, walking in the wilderness, because I live on 15 acres of land in the country. I'm able to prayer, meditate, read my affirmations, spiritual reading, sitting outside, watching the birds and the squirrels. I have a lot of bird feeders set up out there, and listening to nature, you know, listening to God. Stillness. And stillness don't necessarily mean you're not moving. No, stillness for me is being aware of your surroundings. So I'm able to do that. The minute I wake up in the morning, that's I devote my first 2 hours to that prayer, meditation, mindfulness. It's outside in nature on my property, and it's breathtaking. You really, for me, I really didn't realize how much I was in high gear of working 44 years of my adult life, sometimes 2 and 3 jobs. Like I say, I'm retired military, retired also from the state of North Carolina. So I have worked 44 years of my adult life. And by me exiting up out of the workforce 3 years ago, I retired early. It kind of made me reflect and see how high gear I was. And now, since I've shifted my mindset and living a minimalistic life, minimalism mindset, and really now I can hear nature. I can hear God. I can appreciate the birds and the trees. You know, when I walk in nature, you know, on my property, I'm surrounded by wild turkey, deer, squirrels, just all of this wildlife that when you're in the hustle and the bustle in the matrix, you're not going to have time to pray, meditate, and listen to nature for the first 2 hours of your life. So that's one of the things I've been doing more aggressively for the past 3 years. And, it's just absolutely amazing. I still in retirement also maintain my professional license. I'm going to be guided by the Spirit in regards to how long I'm going to continue to maintain my clinical license. I worked in the field of addiction as a licensed clinical expert, holding all those credentials in 3 different states at the state level, national level, federal level, clinically supervise other experts in the field. So I still in retirement maintain my professional license because I have an LLC, and I still make money utilizing my credential in retirement under my LLC at my leisure. Real talk. I still have to do professional development hours, certain amount of CEUs. I still have to carry professional liability insurance. But the beauty of this is I pick and choose on how much or how little I want to make in retirement under my company, under my LLC in retirement, versus, even my last 26 years in the workforce. Prior to me retiring, I worked 44 years of my adult life, but my last 26 years of being in the workforce, I simultaneously was in the workforce and also was making money utilizing my credentials under my company outside of my day job. And I did that simultaneously while I was in the workforce. So when I retired, my credentials are my credentials. I answer to a governing board. So I'm still maintaining my credentials in retirement and making money utilizing my credentials under my LLC in retirement at my leisure. That's the beauty of it. If I don't want to see a client, I don't. If I do, I do, but it's at my leisure. Like I said, that first 2 hours of my life every day is I protect that with a vengeance before I even reach for my phone or respond to calls or check my messages. I'm in prayer meditation the first 2 hours of my life. Another interesting thing that I've done since I've been in retirement, which was a lot of work, a lot of due diligence behind the scene, actually May of this year made a solid year that I've done a tremendous amount of work in turning my raw land into a livable habitat. Because when you got raw land, trust me, them trees ain't gonna clear itself. I got my tiny home set up on my raw land. Them power poles are not going to magically appear on that raw land. Your well ain't going to magically appear. So I had to cultivate my raw land when I escaped the matrix into my livable habitat since I've been in retirement. And that was a tremendous feat that required a lot of financial resources. But that's the importance of preparing, because I knew, like I said, I had a 10-year plan. My last 10 years in the workforce, I was laser focused because I made it my business to enter retirement with zero debt. And I've been retired now for 3 years. I'm still at zero debt. That's critical, people, because I know many people retire and have to go back to work full-time, whether it's a full-time job or a part-time job. But I tell anyone, since I've been retired, I couldn't even wrap my mind around having to work after working 44 years of my adult life in this workforce, military, state government. No, I paid my dues. Another thing that I've done since I've been in full retirement is I've been able to, I'm on a trajectory path to continue to go 7 wonders of the world. And I think 2024, I did a guided tour to Cairo, Egypt, to be able to walk inside of the Valley of the Kings, Ramsey 1 through 9, to be able to ride on the biblical Nile River, to see those pyramids that are well over 4,600 years old, that predates Christ. And when I took that first international travel abroad to Cairo, Egypt, it was breathtaking, people. It was life-changing. I tell anyone, you owe it to yourself to to take a guided tour to see those 7 wonders of the world in Cairo, Egypt, in Africa, throughout Africa. And what I realized when I went over there, we all, school serves no justice. You got to go over there and see those hieroglyphics. You got to go over there and see Ramsey 1 through 9, the Valley of the Kings, ride on the biblical Nile River and see all those historical sites, the Giza Pyramid, because I found out only when I went to Cairo, is we all have the mindset that in Cairo, Egypt, it's the 3 major pyramids that they show you in school and on television. But when you really get over there, the Giza pyramids, there's really 9 pyramids, people. 9. And I did a lot of live footage when I traveled abroad. And also, I believe in 2025, I took a guided tour to Italy and Rome, to walk inside of the Colosseum, to walk inside of the Vatican, to see the famous painting of Michelangelo that was breathtaking. I'm in the process now, latter part of this year, I will be in Australia. I think that's on my next guided tour that I'm going to take. So one of the things that I'm doing in retirement, as long as God gives me life, every 4, 5, 6 months, I'm going, people. I'm traveling abroad, and to be able to do this debt-free. I'm not going in debt to do this. To be able to go to some of these places that I could only dream about prior to retiring. And so with how my life looked in retirement, it's nowhere in the world I don't even have the desire to work nobody job. I don't pay my dues. I'm at a different point in my life. My mindset is different. I'm not the same person I was even 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. Real talk, people. Because, I understand that there is a big old wide world out there. And the more I get out there and do that international travel, as long as God give me breath, I'm on this trajectory path while I'm in retirement to go see all of these 7 wonders of the world, real talk. And I'm just really, again, want to give grace and glory to God for giving me the knowledge and the skills and the resources and the wisdom to put myself on the trajectory path. I clearly remember 10 years before I knew I was going to retire, I sat my behind down and documented on paper on some things that I had to do prior to retiring. And some of those things was I had to wipe out all of my debt. I ended up paying, at the time, I ended up paying my mortgage off. I ended up paying a 30-year mortgage off 20 years earlier, eliminated all debt. 10 years before I retired, I enrolled into the federal student loan forgiveness program because I returned back to school late in life to get my master's degree and licensure. So I made sure 10 years before I retired to make sure I was enrolled in the federal student loan forgiveness program. And I would never forget, once I met all of the requirements of the federal student loan forgiveness, because they'll let you know what those requirements are. And I can remember August of 2023, I met all of those requirements to have remaining balance of my master's degree in the amount of $73,000 forgiven in August of 2023. And that was all I was really waiting on, because I was not going to retire on school debt. No, sir, no, ma'am. So when I was alerted by the loan service provider in August of 2023 that I had met all of the requirements for the remaining balance of my master's degree to be forgiven in the amount of $73,000, September of 2023, the minute I got that notification from the loan service provider, I think that next business day, I went to HR on my job and put in for my retirement packet. In September of 2023, I fully retired. I exited up out of this workforce forever, people. Real talk. After 44 years of my adult life, I exited up out of this workforce September of 2023, debt free. And I continue to be debt free. That I tell anybody, make sure you people think you got to be, because I retired at the age of 59, for real. People think you got to work till you're 62, 65, 70 years old. No, you can retire at any age you want to retire to. That's why you need to make it your business to get linked to these employers that's going to have that tight retirement plan. Real talk. But I made sure that I entered my retirement debt free. And what I mean by debt free, rural, meaning I have no mortgage, I have no rent, I have no credit card bills, I have no school loan bills, I have no personal loan bills, I have no medical bills because I'm a veteran. So I have no real bills in any shape, form, or fashion. And I've been debt-free for years now. I actually met my debt-free goal because I stated I wanted to be debt-free prior to retiring September of 2023, but I was debt-free 3 or 4 years before I retired. So when I met all the requirements for that loan to be, student loan to be wiped out in the amount of $73,000, that was it. The rest was history. I was gone. And I have not looked back. I got too many other things to do in my minimalism living, in my rural travel, and connecting with nature and connecting with God on a daily basis, people. This is real talk. And so that's why it's critical. If you want to enjoy your retirement, irregardless of what age you retire, I tell anybody, it's critical to enter retirement debt-free, and it's critical, do not create new debt. Period. I do not create new debt. If I can't do it in cash, it don't need to be done. When I'm traveling, I ain't creating no debt to go into. I'm budgeting. You know, every time I travel abroad, even when I went to Cairo, Egypt, and returned from that guided tour, the minute I return from one travel, I begin to start saving and budget for the next travel. That's when I did Rome and Italy. So when I returned from Rome and Italy, I began to save for the next international travel, which is going to be Australia, and I just keep paying it forward like that. That's the ability and the power of having delayed gratification and saving to do what you really want to do without creating debt. Because living true minimalism, you know, you are Marie Holiday, I'm very intentional with my money. I'm intentional with my time in retirement. Since I've been retired, I protect my peace and my energy like agents. I don't play with that. If a person energy, I don't care who it is, rather it's a friend or family member, if I meet somebody at the library or whatever, if your energy ain't matching mine, I don't fool with you. You know, God give us the power to discern. I've always been that way, even when I was in the military. I don't fool with people energy who ain't matching mine. And that's real, and I protect that more so now since I'm in full retirement, because I got too many things to do. I have to continue to work my land, cut that grass, and etc. And if I want to see a client and make money in retirement, I do. If I don't, I don't. Real talk. So that's how my life has been since I have been in full retirement. And bottom line, my mind is so far removed from the workforce. All I can say is you gotta prepare. You gotta prepare. And I also, in retirement, it's critical for me. You still have to control your money. You gotta master your money. You know, I don't know too many people in retirement. I even told my niece this. You know, I've been fully retired for 3 years, and I can tell you right now, 100% of all of my retirement checks, all of my pensions, I reinvest into another retirement account. I don't even touch the money. I don't know too many people in everyday life get their pensions every month and literally are in the position to reinvest 100% of your pension for 3 years. I don't even touch the money because, number one, the reason why I have no debt. The only bills I have in this world is my internet, my cell phone bill. I buy my bottled water, in my internet, my cell phone, and my light bill in my USA. My 4 bills I have in this world equals to $410 a month. That is my totality of my debt, people. $410 a month. pay all the debt that I have in this world. So that frees me up to reinvest all of my retirement pensions into another retirement account. And that frees me up to have more disposable income to continue to save and go see all of the 7 wonders of the world. That's life. But trust me, I had to be strategic and wise with my money. I had to be I had to have a strategic plan, a trajectory path. 10 years before I retired, I was laser focused to set myself up to be ready to exit up out of this workforce debt free and to be able to sustain it. So that's how my retirement looked, and my ongoing international travel, my prayer, my meditation, connecting with nature, connecting with God. I have cultivated my raw land into my livable habitat, meaning I don't owe nobody nothing. I don't have no rent or no mortgage. That's power, people. That's power right there. And another key thing that I do in full retirement is I make sure that people who are in my real world, and I ain't talking about no doggone social media. This social media platform is just where I come to impart my knowledge, experience, and skills onto these platforms with a specific topic, deplug, and I move on. But I'm talking about people in my real, people who know my address, people who got my cell phone. It ain't many. I make sure I encircle myself around people who have that even energy. Positive energy attracts positive energy. That even energy is change. Because if the behind is negative, I was like this in the military, even when I work for state government. If your energy matching mine, I don't even engage that person. Real talk. So I tell anybody, especially in retirement, make sure whoever you encircle yourself around, that your energy is matching. That positive energy is matching. And another thing that I also pay attention to, and I've always done this, but more so in retirement, I tell people, pay attention to your spiritual health, your mental health, your financial health, your physical health. Pay attention to your lab work. Keep up with all of your doctor's appointments. And because without your health, you have nothing. You know, if your health is poor, you're not going to be able to navigate and travel and make it through these airports. You're not going to be able to carry your luggage. If your health is poor, that's going to have a direct impact on you being on a lot of medication and etc. So make sure you pay attention to your physical health, your spiritual health, your financial health, your mental health, all the way around. And also keep up with all of your routine appointments so you can enjoy, not just enjoy retirement, but enjoy life, period. Real talk. So again, share this information in regards to my first 3 years of my retirement. And again, none of this would have been possible without God giving me the knowledge, skills, and the ability and the wisdom to prepare myself. Because I can truly remember, and I wrote this in my book that hit all major bookstores 4 years ago, Awake Financial Freedom. I can truly remember from 2008 to 2012, in that time frame in my life, Marie Holiday was living in financial destruction. No one in this world could have told me that I will be exiting up out of this workforce September of 2023 forever, with pensions hitting me for the rest of my life, debt free. God gave me the knowledge and the skills and the wisdom to master my money, to control my money, to respect my money. I got 2 master's degrees. The only thing college taught me was how to get in debt. Credit card debt, school loan debt, debt after debt. I didn't learn none of these skills in terms of how to master my money, to control my money, to write my book, Awake Financial Freedom, until I went through financial destruction from 2008 to 2012. When I got tired of living like that, when I got tired of borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, I didn't have a penny in my name, let alone wasn't even nowhere close to retiring. When I got tired of living like that, I remember I had a spiritual battle with God, a 24-hour spiritual battle with God in 2012. When I woke up out of that spiritual battle, God gave me the skills to master my money, to control my money, to write my manuscript. The transformation of Marie Holiday occurred way back in 2012, and the rest is history. This is real talk, people. Because I'm telling you, I didn't have 1 cent to my name, but getting up and going to work every day, working multiple jobs. No one could have ever told me I would be having this lecture right now on my platform, about this topic. No one could have told me that. So again, this is information and insight on my first 3 years of retirement. I'm just busy enjoying life. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just busy enjoying life, traveling, and just smelling the roses. I keep it simple and share this information. Check out a lot of my popular videos. I think all of those popular videos when I was traveling abroad. Check out a lot of my popular videos when I did a lot of live footage as I went through the pyramids, Cairo, Egypt, Rome, Italy. Check out a lot of my popular videos and you will see a lot of that live footage when I did my travel abroad. I appreciate everybody chiming in. That's all I have. Simplify, Simple Fidelis, and I'm gonna leave you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.